In the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. And Ty, how was your weekend, buddy? You had a lot of NABF action. We had a lot of NABF action. Over 60 games between Thursday and Sunday. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, and that's basically what it was, jam-packed full of baseball for a large majority of the weekend too, and got to see a lot of really good baseball games too. And I mean, the talent level through all of them, you got a little bit of everything, and I experienced a little bit of everything in the 7 games I got to call over the weekend. And honestly, it was the one thing that was consistent through all of it, the defense that these kids and these athletes were able to make. Are just unbelievable, because I called a lot of the junior division games. So these are a lot of 14, 15U kids. Unbelievable defensive plays that these kids were making. Looked like they were college players, even borderline major leaguers at times too, with the Willie Mays type catches in the outfield. It was quite an impressive.
Doing over the shoulder?
Yeah, they're going over the shoulder, diving for them too, making catches. It was phenomenal too. It was phenomenal.
Speaking of that junior division that you called a lot of, because they spent a lot of time at Fitch in that junior division, Astro Falcons ended up the winner of that junior division at the end of the day. It was a Sunday where they won their semifinal game and then came in and won their championship game. In the championship game, it was an 11-6 win over FTB Mid-Atlantic. Jake Schneider was the big bat in the lineup. He went 3 for 4. 2 runs scored, 3 RBI. Drew Kashak, who we've talked to, had a big day at the plate. 2 for 3 runs scored, 2 walks, 2 RBI. Colton Rourke drove in a pair of runs, 2 for 4, 2 runs scored. And then Ryan DeLulo managed multiple hits, going 2 for 5, scoring 2 runs. Brandon Ray got the win on the mound. He went 5 innings, gave up 6 runs on 12 hits, struck out a batter. So Astro Falcons, they battled their way through Championship Sunday, and they found a way to win the NABF Junior World Series Championship.
Was a really good FTB team as well. I got a chance to see them in a couple games at Fitch. And actually, the 2 games I got to see them on Saturday, they went a 14-inning streak. Did not allow a run in back-to-back games. Held both teams to shutouts on Saturday, FTB did. And that was against the Ohio Tide, where they won 3-0. And then the game before, it was a 1-0 pitchers duel against the Titans. Mid-Atlantic won that one. 3 pitchers in all 3 games too. The one pitcher went 7 innings in the Saturday game. Here, actually, let me pull up my box score thing that I have here so I can get the names and shout them out too. The one pitcher that went 7 innings though, in 3-0 victory against the Ohio Tide. Eric Remetta, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, 15 strikeouts in that one. I mean, that is insane too for the talent levels that we saw for pitchers too. That's one of the most phenomenal pitching performances I've seen against a really quality lineup.
Well, speaking of pitching, I mean, despite giving up 11 runs to the Astro Falcons in the championship, in the semifinals, they beat Creekside 5-1. So they were rocking on Sunday. They were pitching really well, and they ran into a offensive buzzsaw in the Falcons. The Astro Falcons got the 4-0 win in the semifinals over the East Coast Michigan baseball, and that was how the championship Sunday played out. So FTB
FTB
beat Creekside 5-1. Astro Falcons beat East Michigan 4-0, and then Astro Falcons beat FTB 11-6.
FTB, I believe, is located in Maryland as well, and they have athletes from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Delaware, all kinds up and down that eastern coast as well. They've had a few, I think, over 2,000 players that have gotten into the next level college-wise. They've had a handful of major leaguers, 3 major league all-stars too. So some quality players have gone through this organization too. So definitely a quality organization that Astro Falcons beat.
Look, and I know the time is crucial, and you can only fit so many games to do the amount of time. But I think for their pitching, the fact that the championship semifinals were a doubleheader caught up to them, and I think they maybe ran out of arms, and that's why they went from letting one run up on the Creekside and pitching as well as they did all weekend, like you said, to all of a sudden, in the championship game, struggling a little bit with their arms. For the first time, we've seen them struggle with pitching all weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that was surprising, though, to say the least, to see how many runs the Astro Falcons were able to score. But Astro knows how to take advantage of situations. And hey, it's no secret that the Astro Falcons are a good quality baseball team. I think it just shows it on a little bit grander of a scale now how much quality is in that Astro Falcon organization.
Eventually, you run out of arms, right? Eventually, you run out of arms, and that's what happened to the FTB Mid-Atlantic. In the semifinals for in the 18U, it was the Longhorns that beat the Astro Falcons out of the semifinals 9-4. Ohio Longhorns, then they had to play Nightline, who beat Avalanche in an all-YSN, all-Class B, I should say, semifinal 8-7. They knocked off the Avalanche, and then the Longhorns won the championship 5-3.
Some respect on that Nightline 18U team, man. I've said before, they got that quality pitching over there, and they showcased it once again in this tournament run. Like you said, though, Ann, it just came down to what it felt like in the Class B playoffs, too. They just ran out of arms at the end of the day, too. The arms got them on a far run. I think this is a team that can go into almost any baseball tournament, really, in the state and make a deep run with the quality arms they have, too. But again, the doubleheader, those kind of days, it can cost some teams. It cost Nightline here.
Nightline tried to rally. They scored 2 runs in the last 2 innings, but they still fell 5-3. Some big names in that Longhorns bat, and I apologize if I mess up this name. Trevor Votkovsky. I'm going to say Votkovsky. I'm going to say that J is a little bit silent because it's Vojt. Votkovsky. He did most of the damage at the plate for the Longhorns, 3 for 4 on the day. He had a run scored, a pair of RBI. Al Cagano went 2 for 4 in the lineup with an RBI and a run scored. Parker Monday, which is a great name, went 1 for 4 with an RBI. And then Alex Parker went 1 for 3 with an RBI for the Longhorns. Their winning pitcher was Dominic King. He went the complete game and only gave up 1 earned run on 4 hits, struck out 1 batter. So he did that all without the strikeout. He trusted his defense, pitched to contact, and still only gave up 1 run on 4 hits. Gavin Strum was never retired at the plate for Nightline. He went 1 for 1 with a run scored and an RBI. Tegan McCurdy got the other RBI for Nightline, and he went 1 for 3. Jake Hedrick was also perfect at the plate, going 1 for 1 and a run scored. Alec Grissett took the loss on the mound for Nightline as he pitched 2 innings. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 2.
Unfortunate, though, but a good run for Nightline in the tournament, too. And they beat some really good teams to get there as well. And they really they showed their own, and they held their own throughout it. And congratulations to Nightline on the runner-ups.
I don't think they played bad baseball in that game. I mean, this was a Longhorns lineup that scored 9 on a really good Astro Falcons team.
It was a really good Longhorns team from what I was hearing, too. Right. I didn't get a chance to see them live, but I saw them on video. And just from what I was hearing with the coaches saying that Longhorns team was really good.
And the Longhorns program had a couple of teams in this tournament. It wasn't just this 18U team that won. There were a couple of Longhorn teams down here. And, to hold that team to 5 runs and battle with them, it was just one of those baseball games that didn't go your way, 5-3. It's very competitive. Sometimes baseball is not going to go your way. That's how the sport is. But I thought pitching did really well for Nightline, held most of the batters in check. No one had a huge day. No one went off. They just kind of lineup kind of trickily beat you throughout the game. And like I said, Nightline tried to come back 2 runs in the last 2 innings, but it just wasn't enough to overcome the 4-run deficit that they were in.
Some quality baseball we saw, though, towards the tail end of it in both the junior and senior divisions. And what more can you really ask for then, right? You could go out to all those ballparks, Springfield, Fitch, and Bobstein Park, of course. We're all booming with really good baseball games this weekend.
Ty, and looking at the final scores of these games that came in all weekend, you were absolutely right on the over 6 runs per game. You look at all these scores, there were so many games that were either high scoring or high scoring enough to be over that 6-run mark. 7-0, 4-3, 7-3, 10-9, one game, 10-0, 13-0, 5-1, 10-6, 11-1. So the offenses were of plenty in the NABF this weekend.
And like I said too, that was the beautiful thing, is you saw that, but you saw a little bit of everything, like in just the junior division on Saturday with the 4 games that I was able to be at. I believe I saw a 1-0 pitcher's duel. I saw a 3-0 complete game shutout by a pitcher. I saw one game. The first game of the day was at Fitch, and it was an 8-3 game where Avalanche had a ton of runs that they were able to rally from. I saw a comeback where Avalanche was up on the Longhorns in junior division 6-3 in the 7th. The Longhorns scored 7 runs in the top of the 7th inning to take a 10-6 lead, and they finally won it in the bottom of the inning. So
right.
It was a little bit of everything. You never knew what was going to happen. No team was ever out of it, and I think that was the exciting part of the weekend.
Yeah, and now you look at it as a grand scheme of things. It was a great weekend for NABF baseball, and we are so happy to once again be the home of NABF baseball that we've been for the last several years. You look at these scores, so I like you said a little bit of everything, but when I looked at it, and I'm looking at them now, I'm looking at all the scores that came in, a few more blowouts than maybe I thought. Like there's a lot of 13-2, 14-2, 11-0, 10-0, 10-2. 10-3, 15-4 type games that were just lopsided.
It's the type of pitching performances that you need to be aware of, where hitters are able to just hit some of these pitchers around sometimes, and that's why pitchers go into these type of leagues, these type of tournaments. You want to get sharpened by iron. You don't have your best stuff on a day, you better figure out ways to get outs, because if not, if you're just leaving it over the plate, hitters will find a way to hit you. And these guys, a lot of them patient too, so they're not going to go chasing after your stuff a ton of times. So pitchers really have to kind of get sharpened by iron and figure out creative ways to get outs in the leagues.
So in this loss to the Longhorns in the semifinals, the Astro Falcons threw Jordan Colinda and Zach Erb. They went combined 6 innings. Colindo threw 97 pitches. Herb threw 49. I only say this because, remember, they have to go right from that to tonight, game 4 of the Class B championship series. So, how many arms are still available for them? You'd have to go through their whole box score on Saturday to see who they pitched in to and how many pitches they each threw. But when you look at it, maybe they were a little bit conservative and not going full bore for the NABF semifinals, because as far as the arms go, not the whole team or anything, but just trying to navigate the arms because they knew they had a championship series on Monday.
It's tough to say because those are 2 really good pitchers.
Really good pitchers. Like there's so many good pitchers in the Astro program.
Yeah,
they're like they just threw 2 Giacomos out there and said, go do it.
But if those pitches, do those pitches carry over to this? Because I know in the NABF they did not keep pitch count.
No, but I still think even if they're not technically, but as a coach, you're not going to be like, you just threw 97 today. You're going to throw more.
Yeah.
If you care about your kids, you're not going to do that to their arm, even if you technically couldn't get away with it.
Yeah. But you would figure Colinda's got to be out for today, tomorrow, probably the next 3 days, honestly. So
he'd be the rest of the championship.
Yeah, he's done with the series for sure.
At the most, there's 2 games left.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean, you might get Herb back for game. You might be able to use him tonight. Game
I
definitely.
saw his name twice this weekend, so I think he pitched at some point Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
You probably want to use. He's more like in case of emergencies, game 5 maybe if you need him. But hey, Astros gotten creative. They have plenty of pitchers though.
Oh, they have a slew.
You still got my man Joe Roth too. That I mean, I'm sure could sling an inning or two for them as well.
A drum. I'm running out of ridiculous measurements.
They have so many quality arms in that program.
So it'll be interesting who gets the nod tonight, because the Astro Falcons go from disappointment of losing in the semifinals right to the chance to win a Class B championship tonight in Game 4 against Creekside. It'll be the only show in town on the network under the lights, 7 o'clock. Here it goes. We hit pause 2 weeks ago before the start of the 14U NABF World Series. I think we hit the pause on that Wednesday. So it's been last Wednesday would have been 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. I think it's been 12 days, I want to say, if my math is right.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute since we last had this series happen. But in what we saw in it, Creekside fought off elimination.
Can you imagine if the World Series hit pause?
That'd be weird too. 10 days as well.
We'll come back in 10 days and finish this out. Wonder what would have to happen for that.
The Cubs win game 5. It's a 3-2 series against Cleveland. They're just
something
we're gonna see in 10 days.
Devastating tragedy obviously would be a national security issue. That's the only way I would ever see that happening.
Yeah.
God forbid never happens. But it would be really weird to say, hey, we're gonna hit pause on this. We're gonna come back and
imagine the perfect example would be just imagine if NBA wise you're in the middle of an NBA finals the series 2-2 and they're well, Olympics are this year, we're gonna have to pull guys from this team, we're gonna resume it after the Olympics, time out on it. Bigger things are out order here. We're going for USA.
That might make sense if the Olympic basketball was taken anywhere close to as seriously as NBA basketball was in America, but it's not. I mean, it's a lot closer than it was. Michael Jordan made it almost an honor to go play for the USA, which it didn't feel like it was back before him. I mean, obviously, for the players that went, it was definitely an honor. But when he made the dream team, it was okay, now we're going to bring our actual superstars for basketball into the USA team. Before that, it was people that just didn't want to play NBA, or they weren't the highlight names of basketball in the country. And that's why until the dream team, the United States really didn't compete too well in Olympic basketball.
Now we run the show almost every time. But that would be the only kind of I guess parallel that I can immediately think of that would be a similar oddity. But like you said, it would never happen. I couldn't imagine any kind of major professional sport in America putting a pause on a series.
It does happen for hockey, not during the playoffs though, right? But aren't they in the regular season when the Winter Olympics come? Are they not? I feel
because they would have to be, because they run the same season as basketball, so they're October to well into the
maybe it's hockey, but I feel there is a sport that takes a little bit of a breath for the Olympics, and I feel it's hockey.
It might be. A
lot of those hockey players are either representing USA or representing their own country.
Yeah, Canada, Russia. Yeah, there's a ton.
A lot of. And hockey, international hockey, is one of those ones that you could argue has a grander scale in the scheme of things than the professional hockey in America.
The interesting thing, though, just to talk about the series between,
I think the NBA would have to do that if the percentage of international players was as high as it was in hockey. There aren't a ton of American-born.
You got
players.
It's probably, I would say 90% NBA is American-born basketball. And then the other 10%, maybe 3% are your European guys, 5%. I don't know, maybe it actually probably is more European. There's some Australian guys that have kind of converted over to the American leagues, but yeah.
To be fair, I wouldn't even say it, but not recruited, but brought over from another country to play. there are some guys that weren't like born in America, but have went to college in America. They like Taco from UCF. He wasn't American born. He was from Africa, but he moved over to the United States to play college basketball. So I don't really count him per se, but there are some players that like literally come over from their country to play in the NBA, like Rubio, right? He came right from Spain to play in the NBA. He didn't come over to play college first and then develop an American career.
Yeah. And I think baseball too, like Major League Baseball, I recall for like their like, I guess, what is it? The Olympics, I guess, the baseball.
It's the World Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic. That's what it was. I didn't think of it.
It was in the Olympics this year for the first time since 2008, and now it's getting pulled again for 2024.
It was, but it took place in the winter, right? Because I feel like towards the tail end of it, I remember like teams would have like they wouldn't have certain players in spring training because they were playing in the World Baseball Classic still.
You're right. It was in the winter for that, and because I believe there was I think Eric Hosmer played in the World Baseball Classic back when he was a Royal.
I believe so as well. I know Carlos Santana played for Dominican Republic the one year for Cleveland, and we didn't get him back until like right before the start of the season because he was playing, and they made it like on a deep run in the World Baseball Classic.
Right, and there are a lot of baseball players that take their heritage very seriously, and the percentage of American-born to outside of American-born for baseball, it's probably not as overwhelmingly stacked as hockey. But there's still probably a good amount of
baseball. Probably is 50. Would you say it's the most diverse sport as far as like cultures in America, as far as professionals is concerned? Culturally diverse of sport.
I think I would say it. Yeah.
You have baseball players from like Dominican Republic, Cuba. You have them from all the Spain, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, then Japan, then China. All the countries out.
Shohei Ohtani is technically from. Is he Japanese?
I don't know where Shohei is from. He might be Korean. Let me look up.
Look it up. Do you love the power of computers?
I mean, if it takes what
How did we get here?
He's from
comment.
Japan. Yep.
Oh yeah, he is Japan. Okay.
Baseball or golf? That's a good point too. That's a good one, Mark Rob.
Golf has a lot of diversity.
They do have a ton of diversity. That is true. Because I mean, like, you want to talk about different countries on a grand scale.
I think baseball, where baseball hits and golf really doesn't a lot. Like, there's not a big golf population in Central America and South America. So I think baseball hits like the Mexico and the Central American islands and a little bit of the Southern American that maybe golf doesn't. And golf probably has a more European than obviously baseball. Not a lot of people coming over from London to play baseball for America, right? I mean, like, you don't see a lot of French baseball players.
Yeah, you're right,
baseball is pretty much America, Canada, obviously, Central America, and then a little bit into Asia. And you don't really see a ton of Asian golfers. It's there. It's definitely there. But it's not like, I think you probably have more players, professional baseball players from Asia than you do.
Europe's all about football,
maybe not, but Europe's golf and soccer, right? Golf and football.
Football, soccer, yeah, and basketball too. Like that's basketball, right. Golf, and football, soccer. Europe's all about those. But you're right, Ant. I mean, you brought that up, and I didn't really give thought about it much before. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of. I can't even think of like a European baseball player off the top of my head. Right?
Would you say baseball, golf, soccer is actually a pretty diverse sport because it's starting to grow in America, but it's also
probably
everywhere else.
It's
everywhere else. It's big.
It's one of the most. It's the most popular sport in the world, which is funny to us here in America because, but it's starting to gain a little bit more traction.
The World Cup, all of a sudden, we take it seriously.
And I want us to start taking it.
Everyone gets around their TVs to watch the World Cup because they want to. It's American pride, and because we have teams that go win World Cups. At least we've had it in the men's side in the 2000s. Now it's the women's side going in and winning World Cups. But like when you have someone that has a legitimate chance of winning, you gather around and you root for your country.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But you look at the World Cup and all the countries that are involved in it, and it's like soccer's pretty dang diverse.
Yeah, soccer is very diverse.
But because our conversation spewed from the American, professional leagues, I really don't know MLS enough to know how much diversity is in the MLS. I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure we get a lot of MLS players from Europe and a lot of MLS players from South America. Yeah, I don't think we'd survive without them. But
There's a ton of soccer players in high school I know from different cultural backgrounds too, and different heritages that I mean that's where I just look to as to our high school teams and just see how many different cultures are represented in the high school teams. And I mean, you got to figure it has to expand because like you said, it's popular in the Euro leagues, it's popular in Mexico, it's popular in all those islands, it's popular in South America. I mean, it's soccer is everywhere, like you said, and it's popular just about everywhere too. So it's going to draw all those cultures, and I'd probably say it's the most diverse. But I wouldn't say I can't say on a professional scale because, like you said, I don't know much on MLS.
I just know that we have Sporting.
Taking notes.
we have Sporting Kansas City, and that's all I know. They used to be the Wizards, and I thought it was cool when they were the Wizards. They turned into Sporting KC, which I don't really.
No, it's like I'm not really a fan of it.
They're still the Wizards, in my opinion. That's my Cleveland Indians, right?
Yeah.
They're still the Wizards. Shut up.
They're still the Wizards. You're the only one mad about it, though.
Right.
No, not many people are raising as much hell about that.
They're still the Kansas City Kings. Don't care. They don't live in Sacramento. I am rejecting your reality, and I'm substituting my own.
Sacramento doesn't exist.
Sacramento doesn't even exist.
It's all a farce. It's all made up.
Capital of the California. Come on, that's not. No, Los Angeles is the capital. What are you talking about?
LA. Anthony, the student of Cali history and Cali geography, knows. Got that pinpointed. Oh man, but to relate our, I guess, grand scheme of conversations right back to that track of Astro Falcons and Creekside.
Please.
I don't know who has the advantage in this though, because both teams made a deep run in Creekside and Astro going into the series. I'm not sure who's going to have more pitchers. Do you think it's an advantage for Creekside now that Astros maybe cooled off, suffered some losses in this tournament, this NABF series?
Well, Creekside didn't play on Sunday either, so they at least have one more day of rest.
They do. You're true. That is true. They do have that one extra day, and that one extra day pays a huge advantage, I think, as far as pitching's concerned.
But I think to the flip side, the Astro Falcons won game 1 and 2. They had the momentum. Then Creekside won game 3. But now there he goes. Is that official?
There you go. Out there.
Can you officially say that? Has that been approved?
Yeah.
Is that a reliable source? Is that like
Mark Roth?
But so it's 2-1. I lost my train of thought for a minute, but it's 2-1 now. But all the momentum that Creekside had by winning game 3, you think maybe washed away a lot, and now the Astro Falcons have had a chance to hit the reset button and come back into the championship series.
Absolutely. That momentum.
That might be a bad thing for Creekside. You don't want them to have the chance to hit the reset button. You want to come back the next day after winning game 3 and have them on their heels. Not going to be on their heels today.
And I mean, you got to go up against Joe Roth. And like we talked about, I even said earlier in the show, I mean, I don't recall him pitching a ton during this. So I felt like he had some room to pitch. And if he's going to be available, that's another tough arm. Like you said, it's another one that Astro is able to throw at you. Creekside, they've had a good run, though, in this NABF tournament. They're not a team to be taken lightly. They're going to be fighting for their season lives, too, because they're trying to get to a game 5, no doubt. It's not going to be easy.
On Creekside side of things, they had chances to win games 1 and 2. Like they were right there, right? We talked about it during the series when it was starting. They had ample opportunity to win game 1 and 2, and they won game 3. So it's not like they were blown out of the water and they just found a rock and found the right spot in game 3. It's not like the blind squirrel finds a nut. It wasn't one of those cases. It was, we competed in game 1. We were right there, had opportunities in game 2. I think one of them they took the early lead, and then one of them, Astro Falcons, took the early lead in the first inning, and then Creekside no hit them the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was game 1.
That was.
And then I think in game 2 they were up in the 7th and gave up the walk-off, or gave up the runs in the 7th. I can't believe I think they were actually the home team. They gave up the go-ahead ones at the top of the 7th.
Yep. All
right. So they were right there in both games. They decided to take the next step. And then in game 3, they took that step. They won 6-3. So this is going to be a competitive game because the series has been so competitive. I don't think it's going to be like the Astro Falcons come in and, muscle their way to a victory.
The biggest thing I think for Creekside right now is you got the rest. You had a day's rest, and it comes down to rest versus rust.
Rest versus rest, right? We had that discussion earlier in the not in the championship series, but in the playoffs, because Avalanche had that rest, right? And it did not do them well.
No, it didn't. And now, albeit this is only one day, it's not an extended rest. It's 1 day of rest. So this could pay as an advantage for Creekside to kind of, all right, let's hit the reset. Let's take a day to think about what we want to do in this game too. Because the biggest thing out of all of it, I think, Creekside had that extra day to think about their upcoming opponent. They had the day to think about, okay, we know we're playing Astro tomorrow. Astro had to focus on, all right, we have the Longhorns we have to worry about right now.
Now, okay, we lost. We have to focus on Creek. Right.
So Creekside's been thinking about it longer. It's been in their minds longer. It's been fresh in their minds. I mean, it's a mental game. We'll see. I'm excited to see what happens in game 4.
We'll talk about it a little bit more during the rest of the show when we get into our previews of the things that are going on tonight in the sports world. But right now we're going to take a break, pay some of our bills. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
The news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms. 21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
Reliability,
innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. Ty, before the break, we were talking about the older baseball players that were in action and the older players that were in action in the NABF World Series over the weekend, but we also had some of the youth of our area in action over the weekend as well. Little League baseball and softball going on in the 11U, 10U divisions. We had the 10U Austintown team 15-0 in softball win over Ashtabula to kick off their state tournament run. And look at, there was a no-hitter. Mila Hamley, just incredible. She went she went 2 innings, and then they gave Micah Sell the other inning to save her arm a little bit. But both pitchers no-hit softball. The lineup was just stacked throughout. Hamley went 3 for 3 with two RBI, 3 runs scored. Micah Sell went 3 for 3 with 3 RBI, 3 runs scored. Gracie Fonda went 2 for 2 with 3 RBI, 2 runs scored. Austintown smashes in their first state tournament game, 15-0. They take care of it in 3 innings.
Impressive to say the least, too. And emphatically getting it done and moving on.
Poland also got the win down there in the same tournament. Remember, in 10U softball, the winner and the runner-up both earned the spot in the state. Poland got the win 10-0 in their first game on Saturday as well. As we move to baseball, 2 of our teams are 1-1 on the weekend as far as state goes. Boardman, they got the win in their first game of the state tournament against North Canton and then lost their next game against New Albany. They play tonight at 6 against Avon for their state tournament lives.
Let's hope we get some good results and the ones we're looking for out of these results.
It's time to guess where this spot is on the map. Loveland, Ohio. Where do you think it's at?
Loveland?
Loveland. This is where Boardman is playing. It's in a city called Loveland. And
I've heard of this city before, though.
I hear you typing. Don't cheat.
I honestly feel like I've heard it. No, I don't know where it's located, but I've heard of Loveland before.
Loveland is just south of Dayton in southeast Ohio. It's before Cincinnati, so not quite all the way to Cincinnati. It's past Mason and also past Lebanon. So some other cities that you know down there, if you've ever made the drive to Cincinnati, you will pass the big Mason overpass. It says Mason on the bridge. So you go a little bit past that, you hit Loveland, and that's where the Boardman baseball team is playing tonight at 6 o'clock against Avon.
Yeah, I was just trying to see it. I feel like I've heard of this before, unless it's somewhere else too, or something else I'm thinking of. But I don't know. I was trying to see if it was famous for something or if I've heard it for something else, but I can't find anything off the top of my head or off the web either on anything on Loveland too. So I don't know where I've heard it before. Maybe it's just because it sounds familiar to me.
Canfield Little League 10U boys. They are 1-1 on the weekend as well. They beat Bellevue 11-1, and they will play for their tournament lives tonight against New Albany in Rock Hill. Remember, we don't know where Rock Hill is. We guess maybe. Like we guess.
That one we definitely. I don't even think the internet did us justice in that one. We tried looking it up, and it didn't help us much at all.
I'll do it again just for kicks and giggles, but.
Rock Hill, Ohio.
It's in Flushing. That's what we found. There's a Rock Hill neighborhood that is in the city of Flushing, but on the map, it's in the middle of nothing but green. It looks like it's a forest.
Rock Hill School District says it's outside of Ironton, Ohio.
Well, maybe that's it. I mean, I'm looking. Where's Flushing? I don't know where Ironton is.
Is Ironton where Bishop Ironton's from? Or now am I just throwing stuff?
No, Ironton, like that Division III football team that's always in the state, like that Ironton, I imagine.
That's what I was thinking.
But I don't know where I don't know what city Ironton's in either. This, like I said, this looks like it's right on the border of West Virginia because I see Wheeling, West Virginia, really close to it. So is Weirton. Weirton's a little bit north of it. So it's like right on that border of Ohio and West Virginia. Past Steubenville, past St. Clairsville.
Yeah, the Rock Hill local school district is like right on the Kentucky border. Like,
I guess you can also call that Kentucky, I guess.
Are you looking at Kentucky too?
No.
Yeah, it's like right in that kind of
right in the middle. I mean, it's like right. Like I see it.
This is far, and this is like South Ohio.
Yeah, it's not on the Kentucky border. It's pretty. The Rock Hill I'm looking at is like it's near the tip of West Virginia.
Okay, see, like the Rock Hill local school district, it has to be the one you're looking at because the one I'm looking at, it's right there by Kentucky and like right towards the south part of West Virginia too.
It would make more sense to go to where a school district is than a big green spot on the map, right?
Well, that's what I was thinking originally because of the school district, but that's like a 4-hour drive. And
this would be probably like a 2-hour drive. It's state. Boardman's going all the way to past Dayton, so that's probably a 4-hour drive. So I don't think
that is true. I think it's about 4 hours across the 4 or 5 to go. I think it's 5 to go from like Youngstown to Cincinnati. Honestly,
it might be a little bit less since you're not going all the way to the western part of the state, southwest. So since you're cutting down the middle, it might be a little bit less.
Yeah, it's like southeastern part of the state.
That'd be 4 hours. I don't know.
Well, more like south central, honestly.
Well, it's
actually right in the middle of the state. Like if you cut Ohio in half, it is just south of like Columbus, just up to the east a little bit. Like it's almost directly down the middle. The Rock Hill School District is.
See, I don't even see any Rock Hill. I see a Rock Hill Elementary School. It's actually really close to Youngstown. It's up in Alliance. But I doubt they're going there.
Rock Hill Local School District.
I don't even see that on my Maps app for iPhone.
It's a 4-hour drive.
There's somewhere. They're either at Ty's Rock Hill or my Rock Hill. Either way,
they're at a Rock Hill.
They're playing tonight against New Albany in an elimination game. Both teams 1-1 on the campaign so far in the state bracket.
I mean, like the funny thing was too, like the reason I clicked it, I typed in Rock Hill, Ohio, and it said Rock Hill Local School District, and the picture was a baseball field. So that's why I clicked it. I thought it was this one, but
that's gotta be
so
it.
Far
there's
away.
no way it's not. That's gotta be it.
If someone has confirmation on that, please let us know too. where the right Rock Hill is too. Is it more towards the eastern part of Ohio on the West Virginia border, or is it south central Ohio, right on that Kentucky and West Virginia border?
I'm gonna look real quick at the softball bracket for Austintown real quick because I know they won. So because they won, they will play tonight? Tonight's the 23rd? No, tonight's the 25th. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They played Ashtabula, they won. So they will play tonight at 6 against Poland. Poland beat Talmadge 10-0. So it'll be Austintown, Poland tonight at 6 o'clock.
If you recall, Coach Hamley said he expected to run into Poland again at some point. So
the winner will go right to the championship game, and the loser will have to fight their way out of the loser semifinal, which would be tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So the winner goes right to the championship, which is the 27th, which is Wednesday. And the loser tonight between Austintown, Poland, still alive, goes down to the loser semifinal. And remember, when you get to the championship, it's not you have to beat them twice. So winning tonight, the only advantage it gives you is you don't have to play that extra game. It does not give you the advantage of the other team has to beat me twice now.
Nope, not anymore, right? You can lose it all. Stakes get raised.
Right. Part of me likes it, part of me still frustrated about it. Like the thing that gets me is like if you're gonna do it tournament wide. Don't do it in the districts and then still in the state. Like, why are we still doing double elimination championship in districts if it's not in state or in the older divisions, not in the World Series or regionals either?
And honestly, because then all that means is, I mean, you're trying to save what? You're trying to save the best teams from slipping up in the lower parts of the tournament of the bracket, right?
Maybe that's it. Maybe they want to make sure that the best team possible gets to state.
It could be something like that, but I'm kind of with you on I'd be favored for having it all throughout the bracket. Give me that chance, man. If I get to the championship game, I don't want to have to beat somebody twice. One game for the chip.
So Austintown has beaten Poland, I think, 4 times this summer. I'm going to bring up their game changer real quick to confirm this.
Which would be interesting if this is the 4th time and they've beaten Poland.
Yes. So they beat Poland in the first round of the tournament, the districts, 3-0. And then they beat them in the championship. It was 7-2. They beat them 2-0 in the first round of the districts. They beat them 7-2. They beat them later in the summer 3-0 on the 12th, which was a tournament that wasn't districts. It was just a filler between districts and state. Then they played them again and won 3-1. So every game, even that 7-2 game, was close until the last inning when Austintown kind of broke through and scored, I think, 4 or 5 runs in the top of the last inning of the game. So you'll look at this. Every game's been competitive, but Austintown's come in front every single time.
That's a dangerous thing for playing Poland again too. When you've beaten a team that many times, especially in this sport, it's tough to go back and run it up again.
The adage is it's hard to beat a team like 3 times. Now it's going to be Austintown. It's hard to beat a team 5 times.
Yeah, again.
I mean,
there's nothing to hide against each other.
You might have to play them again because if they lose, they have a chance to go right back into the championship. So they might play 6 times before the summer's over.
That's unbelievable, too, to think about. But hey, and like I said, there's nothing you're going to see hidden between these teams. These teams honestly hide from each other.
You'll look at it. Poland won 10-0 over Talmadge. They look like they're kind of head and shoulders above most of these teams. It might just, no matter what the result of tonight goes, it might come down to Austintown versus Poland.
Again, it just might be inevitable. That's what Poland and Austintown are just saying to each other. We're inevitable to each other.
I am inevitable.
They just send it back to each other. They're just snapping back and forth to each other. That's what Poland's been doing every time. Austintown takes them and tries to push them away. They just keep saying, "I am inevitable," and they keep on back, man. They keep on running it back. Hey, you never know. It could pay off sometime too, and that's all you need is that one time for Poland.
Oh man! So Ashtabula will play Wheelersburg. They already played. I don't know what the final with that. The bracket's not updated. So Ashtabula played Wheelersburg yesterday, and they played they will play the loser of they'll play Talmadge, today at 3. So Ashtabula versus Talmadge tonight at 3, and then the winner of that will play the loser of tonight's semifinal game between Austintown and Poland. Poland's already beat Talmadge. Ashtabula lost to Austintown 15-0. So, yeah.
It's likely going to be a matchup between these teams again, right? I'm curious to see. what the result is, because Poland's been right there too, and all it takes is that one. Right, they just need to get over Austintown that one time.
Here it comes. Fun.
Yeah.
We talked about the Canfield Little League boys that are 1-1. They're fighting for elimination tonight in Rock Hill. Boardman's also 1-1. They'll be playing Avon. Canfield playing, I believe, New Albany. And then Boardman will play Avon tonight. Boardman is going to be in Love. What did I say? Loveland. Loveland. I wanted to say Love Lady for some reason. They'll be in Loveland for the elimination game, and Canfield is in Rock Hill. We wish them both the best of luck. Austintown, Poland softball. That's an all YSN matchup as far as we're concerned. So good luck to both of you guys. And then, of course, Boardman 12U softball begins their regional tournament tonight at 7 o'clock. Catch that game on ESPN Plus.
That's so exciting too, to be able to be on ESPN Plus too. And I mean, we wish the best of luck to all of our YSN teams. Let's bring the area back some hardware.
While we're at it, I have the regional bracket here for Boardman as we look into the teams that they'll have to fight through to make it to the Little League World Series. They will play Kentucky tonight. The Kentucky region, which the winner was, the winner of the Kentucky region was Boyd County. So they'll play Boyd County, Kentucky tonight at 7 o'clock. It is still double elimination as far as until you get to the championship. So win or lose, they'll still be alive tonight. If they win, they play the winner of, Illinois and Nebraska is playing today at 10 a.m. They'll play They'll play Wisconsin, looks like. Game 5. Yeah, they'll play. Okay. The bracket's kind of everyone's so close together. So basically, Illinois and Nebraska played this morning. I don't know what the result was. They will play Wisconsin tomorrow at 11 a.m. If Boardman wins, they'll play the winner of Wisconsin versus Illinois / Nebraska on Wednesday. If Boardman loses, they will play. Oh, this is so small. They will play in Game 7 on Wednesday at 11 a.m. versus a to-be-determined opponent based on the results of the whole bracket. The other states in the regional, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Missouri, Wisconsin, Illinois, Nebraska, and Kentucky. So Ohio, Kentucky, all those, 8 teams? Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 teams. 9 teams fighting for a regional. And it really started today at 10 a.m. between Illinois and Nebraska. Once again, whoever won that game, I don't know who won that game right now, but whoever won that game plays Wisconsin tomorrow. That'll be the only Tuesday game. And the winner of Boardman, Kentucky, who we're going to be watching very closely, will play on Wednesday at 7 on ESPN against the winner of Wisconsin versus Illinois / Nebraska. So if you win tonight, you get an extra day because Wisconsin and whoever they play, they have to play on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, let's go, Boardman. Let's go.
Like I said, either way, win or lose, they're still alive. They will play on
So
Wednesday.
cool that they're even at that stage right now,
I
too.
know. And if they lose and they have to play Wednesday, I might have it up during the show. And I might have the iPad like right here.
Let's go.
Their losers bracket game would begin in the Wednesday morning. So I might just have that up.
Yeah, might have to, right? You might have to. You're gonna have to keep paying attention to it somehow.
Right. So once again, all of our little league teams are still in action as they venture towards their goals, whether it be for the younger ones, state championships. That's their holy grail, their ultimate tournament, their ultimate trophy they can win in the summer, or as if you're talking about little league softball, going for that World Series berth with a regional championship that starts tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, this is exciting times, too, to see all these games that are lined up after having 60 NABF games over this weekend, too. Just more and more baseball, softball action for all the YSN faithful.
By the way, if Boardman's able to go undefeated, they would have to win 1, 2, 3, 4 games. 4 games is what it takes. 4 wins.
Got to knock them down like pillars, right? One after another, but one at a time.
So they could play 4 games. They could play more than that if they lose, but 4 games if they go undefeated for a championship.
And, like I said, too, I mean, you got to take it one game at a time, but it's crazy to think grand scheme-wise you have only 4 games that really stand in front of you.
Looking at this team from Boyd County, Kentucky, I was doing some research because that's what I do. I was scouting them a little bit there and trying to see what they got. They have 4 pitchers, Ty, that they have used consistently. They have deep arms. They have a girl named Ysn Black who pitched 3 of their wins in the state tournament, and also part of a combined no-hitter in the state semifinal. They will use multiple pitchers in one game. They have no hesitation, but you have to keep an eye on Ysn Black when she's at the plate too, because she is the East Regional Home Run Derby champion. So she will be playing in the National Little League Home Run Derby. She hit qualifiers she beat qualifiers from 10 different states to win that regional tournament, derby, I should say. 37 home runs in her local home run derby. 37. And then in the regional home run derby, she hit 19.
That's unbelievable. 37 dingers is unbelievable.
So her derby total between state and regional is what 56.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that, like I've said before, and we've talked about it, the talent level at these young ages, it's astonishing to see how incredibly talented some of these young players are and what they're able to accomplish at such young ages and the hard work and dedication that they put into these sports already. It's really impressive.
In their I think 6 games in district and state, she hit 2 home runs in those game home runs. And their offense has only had 1 game so far that they did not score at least double-digit runs. They've only, in that 1 game, they had 8. So they've been a high-scoring offense. They have a deep pitching staff. It'll be a big task for Boardman. But I think they match up pretty well. I think Boardman's pitchers are going to be a little bit better than what Boyd County saw in their state tournament. And, of course, Emma Davies is going to have her say. She's played really good lineups, and she hasn't given up much. So we'll see if Boardman's pitching between Swantek and Davies can hold up against a really high-power offense tonight.
Yeah, we're hoping we see a Boardman victory too, and let's hopefully see a long and prosperous run from the Spartans.
I watched the Hawaii Little League softball team over the weekend. The other regionals started over the weekend. Oh, Hawaii is good. Hawaii is good. They won like 16-1 and like 3. That's like get in, get out. Let's go.
It's crazy. You wouldn't think like Hawaii for a softball state either.
They were like, there must be something in the water down there because Jocelyn Allo, who's the new career home run queen in college softball, went to Oklahoma, but from Hawaii. So played Little League from Hawaii.
and you live in Hawaii. Like, I mean, what's not to love?
They're playing year round, of course. But I mean, I was watching. I was like, dude, this team are they really 13? Because they were just mashing every pitch. It was like gone or double gap. It's like, jeez,
Not messing around, no doubt.
they pitched really well. Hawaii's legit. They might go to the Little League World Series.
Let's hope Boardman is able to have some say about that.
Of course, Boardman won't have to deal with Hawaii because they're not in the same region. So.
No, but wouldn't they have to run into him eventually, though, if they were to?
Yeah, if they went to the World Series, you know, 8. How many regions are there? I think 8 regions.
I think it would have to be an even number.
8 regions plus the international winners will come to the Little League World Series. So you'd have to play them eventually, of course, but not right now.
Yeah, not right now. But let's obviously hope Boardman's able to get through this region too. It's kind of like Midwest, I would say, region that we got going on here. Let's hope Boardman.
I think it's officially called the Central Region.
That makes sense because they went as far as Nebraska.
So, you know, you've seen the Little League World Series when the teams kind of represent a region, like their jerseys say Northeast or Northwest or Southeast, whatever. So if Boardman wins and goes to the World Series, they'd be wearing the Central uniform. Central.
So, well, let's hope Boardman there represent Ohio and do us proud.
From what I've been told, in this tournament they had the option to either wear, they had to buy and wear Ohio uniforms that say Ohio, or they could wear their own. I think they're going to be wearing their Boardman uniforms tonight,
representing the Sparty Maroon.
And it's a pretty cool uniform. It's got Boardman going diagonal up the jersey with the stripe going up diagonally. So I'm pretty sure they've elected to wear their Boardman uniforms, and they'll be rocking that maroon tonight.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool to see that maroon in full blast
on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, on ESPN Plus too on that stage.
I'm excited because I get to watch all these teams and you know, get to see views behind the pitchers, see how their pitchers are breaking. You know, you really get a respect for how the pitch is moving when the broadcast angle right behind
that center field camera. It's nice. Yeah, it's very nice.
It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna watch all the games and try to keep an eye on the other teams that Bournemouth will have to deal with, and come prepared to talk about it as the week goes on.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those weeks too where we're hoping that we get some good news from these results, and we're gonna have a lot of baseball, softball to talk about this week.
Anthony is a softball junkie, so Anthony's gonna be talking a lot about Little League softball this week. Sorry about it. Last week before official practices begin in fall sports.
You get your last little bit in. This is your last bites of cake before we start the next course.
It's coming. And actually, Ty, we do have our first official fall sports previews so far as coaches interviews scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah. And
we have Camel football and champion football both coming on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, Coach King and Coach Conrad, too, to kind of kick us off here on Running Point for our football previews. And it's going to be exciting times to get in both now both teams inside the gray side of the MVAC as well. So we're going to dive a little bit into that side and talk to a couple of teams that are going to be fighting for conference crowns in there.
I feel like we enjoy starting with that MVAC.
We usually do, right? It's always MVAC great here as well. It seems like that was going.
Crestview kicked us off in basketball, you know.
Hey, I mean, it's one of the original teams. Crestview was one of the original teams, but I mean, they represent that grade tier too. So we have that whole grade tier represented, and it's fun to talk about too because we quite literally can get viewpoints from every single team inside that conference.
So tomorrow we'll have champion. And you can't see that I'm blocking the red.
Yeah, a little bit of that flash right there.
But can you see
Red Memorial? Yeah, over your left.
Right. Forget it. I'm not pointing to it. It's right there. It's back there. We'll have Camel and Champion. That's the whole point. Camel football, Champion football, both being previewed tomorrow with coaches' interviews. We'll go over the roster, go over their schedule, go over some of the big names they think are going to contribute, all that jazz for both those teams, and it's going to be fun. We also have couple of other interviews sprinkled throughout the week too, Ty. So we are getting our feet wet with fall sports previews. And of course, we've already talked to volleyball coaches. They wanted to wait till tryouts. So as soon as that's over, and same with soccer, we'll start flooding in with volleyball and soccer coaches.
If you haven't subscribed and hit the notification bell on the YouTube channel YSN Live, you need to now, because this is the prime time to do so. Because if you don't watch the show every day, you're going to want to be updated on those coaches' corners as they drop as well, because they're going to be coming in. Like Anthony said, they'll be sprinkling in, and you never know when it's going to be your team or a coach you want to hear from that drops in there as well. So you want to make sure you get notified.
Looking at the algorithm, we have almost double the views this month, and we have subscribers. So there are half of the people here that are watching that are not subscribed. So we want you to go subscribe, hit that notification bell, as we actually almost completely this month doubled our subscribers and views. I think it's almost exactly double, which is insane.
Are we still beating the fans subscribers to videos though? Because that's the biggest thing. Are we beating the fans? Are we producing more content than we get subscribers too? Because that's the big battle we got going on.
So are you okay? So you're saying do we have
more videos right now than subscribers? Because that's the thing that's got to change too. We're putting out content, and we know people are watching that content. That's the battle between YSN and the fans.
I don't know exactly where to find. I'm looking. I knew how to find the other one.
Okay.
So
I'll try It's just lost on it too. I'll get the video count for us real quick and just see where we're at.
I doubt we have as many subscribers as we have videos.
That's what it needs to change, right? The fans.
It's almost not fair because we just crank out videos like crazy.
Hey, they got to get competitive, right? You got to
get those Beard Brothers big dog.
Oh, it's a lot closer though. 3,074 videos, 2,230 subscribers. So they're right there. It's only about an 800 video.
You have 30. I have 29 in that last year for subscribers.
Oh, well, it's 2002.3. So, I mean, it didn't give me the exact number. It rounded up like.
It rounded up. I'm looking at like the exact number. Okay.
Yeah, but hey, we're right there. It's not that big of a gap. It's not as big as I thought. It's not as big as it was at one point too. They've definitely closed that gap.
So basically, the whole moral of the story is get over to our YouTube page. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And please share with your friends, and we can boost this channel up.
It gets you like spoonfuls of Running Point. If you don't want like the whole show, like that whole piece, You get spoonfuls of like the coaches' corners that came on and like key segments throughout the show.
If you come into a middle of Running Point or Power Hour or Casual Sports and you're like, man, I really like that conversation, but how did it start? You can't rewind when it's live.
Yeah.
So go into the YouTube after it's done and just watch that part if you want.
Yeah, or if you're the type too that just kind of wants the interviews and you want to kind of get cut out of everything else, you can just wait on our YouTube page. But you want to make sure you're subscribed and you have that notification bell rung, so you make sure you get all those videos as they happen.
Looking at you, Harold.
Harold, now you're getting obscure. I don't think there's too many Harolds watching.
My analytics say that Harold watches a lot.
Analytics. It's in my numbers actually. We got 400 Heralds watching. It's like, oh my goodness, break it down. Not people that have watched or anything.
13 Franks.
There's more Heralds than Franks. That's tough.
We're including Harry, and we're including
Harry.
Harry's count. 5 Geralds.
Gerald
and 2 Howards. So, we're looking at it.
we got the numbers.
We're watching you guys. Harold, if you're out there, subscribe.
Oh man, what are you most excited though about these upcoming fall seasons and volleyball, football? What are you most excited for coming up?
Volleyball. but I'm biased because that's what I brought.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, I'm not talking about like which sport. I'm saying what are you most excited about with the seasons coming up?
Like I think there are a lot of. This is a year where we're going to find out, and I've said this before. In every sport, there are a couple of teams that have had success for 4 or 5 years, and this is the year where where we decide if they're going to be a consistent program with a tradition, or if they just had a class that was good, right? So they're losing a really good class, and they have to try to find ways to build tradition. So there are a couple of programs in football, volleyball, and soccer that are right on that. Are they going to be a good program, or do they just have a good class, and they're gonna be on that tipping point? And I'm excited to see how they handle that, because building tradition is how you go from having a successful program for 4 years to having a successful program for 10 plus years.
Who is the dark horse team in volleyball that you think no one's looking at right now that you think they should be? Like, we're talking Crestviews, we're talking Gerards, we talk Fitch a lot, we talk Wellsville. Like, we know who the good volleyball teams are. Beaver Local, obviously.
I'm going to go with inside the NE8. I think there's a dark horse in there that's not in Gerard or Lakeview. I think it's Hubbard.
Hubbard, the dark horse?
I think Hubbard volleyball, I think, like I said, they were a program that was one of the area's best not too long ago. They had a player that decided to start her college career early because she was that good, and she left before her senior season to go and start at Ohio State. And I think some of her other seniors kind of followed that trend and said, well, if she's not going to be on the team, I'm just going to be out of here. And that hurt that program for a little bit. They had to find their footing, had to find a couple of new coaches to put in, plug in. But now they have a young core finally come back through. A lot of talent on this team that was young last year, get one more year in. They were competitive against some of these teams last year. I think they take the next step and they could throw a monkey wrench and maybe beat a Lakeview or Gerard once or twice and shake up the standings.
It will be very interesting to see.
Hubbard's put together a pretty tough schedule. They play Austintown Fitch.
That's what you want. You want to have that kind of schedule to get you prepared for the tournament. I'll go into the football realm, and I'll give you.
Oh, are we going? I thought we were just talking volleyball.
My dark horse.
Oh, Ty cut off. He might be having connection issues. Dark horse for football for me, if I'm thinking about it. There are so many good teams. I'm going to go inside the MVAC. I'm going to say Crestview this year. I know they were good last year. It's not like their team coming out of nowhere, but I think they got the pieces to be really competitive. And so I'm going to say Crestview is my dark horse in football. While Ty is trying to figure out his connection issues, I will take our next break. It's a perfect time to do it. And we will be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Minter and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable. We are close. You call it hometown. We call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, before your little connection issues, which we have no idea what happened, glitch gremlins are hitting us, which really we look at all summer like we went a long time without glitch gremlins, but they're hitting us. They're hitting us today. Now I'm gonna start the board that says days without glitch gremlins.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start at 0 today. But they weren't long, and you got right back on. Before you got knocked off, you were going to give your dark horse for football. I threw out Crestview, but I'm also starting to think a little bit on it, and I'm like, I kind of like this, and it's going to sound like I'm just doing it for timing because we're going to have them on tomorrow. Kind of like this athletic camel team that has a lot of just straight-up athletes and one more year of growing because they were really young last year.
It is going to be exciting. I wanted to. I also didn't mention my volleyball team as well for the team. I think no one's talking about.
Why don't you go for volleyball, then you do football, and then we'll come back to the discussion.
I'll talk first on the volleyball. I think you got to look at Garrettsville Garfield, right? You and I have had these private discussions, right? Garfield was 20-5 last year.
That's why I didn't want to pick them as a dark horse because they were really good last year. They just couldn't beat Crestview.
I wouldn't, but I think they get overshadowed by Crestview inside that MVAC. But the big thing is Gabby Bernard, Montana McGranahan, and then of course their top setter Madeline Shirky too. You get those three back. You get your two top kill leaders. All three of them were tops in digs last year, and Shirky had the most assists on the team because she was your primary assist getter, 600 assists last year. Whew. That triangle is back this year for Garfield, all coming back. Two of them seniors, and I believe Montana is going to be a junior. But that's going to be the team that is going to give Crestview runs for their money, and that's going to be those battles again. We're going to see, I think, between the Rebels and the G-Men for conference crowns.
Here's another thing, Ty. The team to look out for in that same conference. Crestview only lost one set all year, and it was a long set, with a long streak without losing a set. And who broke it? Brookfield. And Brookfield made a really good tournament run.
Brookfield is another good one, and you know what? Honestly, for a dark horse, that's a pretty good pick as well. Brookfield always has to be talked about for upset central, man. Like if there's a town that or a community or a school that we represent under the YSN banner that should just be called like upset city, it's Brookfield. They are the town that they throw wrenches every single time in every sport.
Here's one more that's on the other side of the VAC that I want to talk about just real quick. McDonald. McDonald was young last year. There were times when they looked great, and there were times when they looked young. I expect those times when they looked young to kind of get washed away this year. Klockner is a great center. And her dad's the coach, obviously. She's going to be back. Their libero might be talent-wise and her ability to move in the back row, the best libero in the area. She was young last year. She got one more year under her belt, Bonilla. So they got a lot of talent on that team. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they bring to the table this year around.
It is
more. It's going to be on that team as well.
McDonald, that village knows how to get sports going on the right track, and they're never off the track for too long.
And they're coming off of a tournament where they were upset. They were a little bit disappointed in their tournament run. So they want to bounce back from that. They want to make a deep tournament run this year, and I think they can.
I absolutely think that they can as well. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see once we get to the tournament, how these things kind of line up. But
you feel like it's far away, but it's not. The volleyball tournament gets on you real quick. October 15th is the last regular season day.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
The volleyball tournament starts before the football regular season even ends. So,
if that gives you any kind of look into how quickly this whole season's going to go, honestly.
So, go into your football dark horses. I threw out Crestview.
Crestview's a good one. For me, I'm looking at Girard. Girard is my dark horse football team right now, and because they play in a tough conference, right? They play in a conference where it's very, very easy to overlook them. But they're a 7-5 team. They're a team that consistently makes the playoffs too, and just consistently has winning seasons.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty. Last year they ended the season on a little bit of an uptick.
Yeah, they did, and they made a nice solid run in the playoffs. This is a team that just knows how to have winning seasons in football, and yeah, they might not always have 9-win seasons, 8-win seasons, but they're gonna be your 6-7-win seasons, and on the bad years, Girard, it seems like are 5-5. Like it's a town that just knows how to produce winning football teams. Coach Pearson's there for his 9th season already, and it doesn't even feel like it's been that long, but he's already been there 9 years. They have some longevity in their coaching staff. They have a guy that cares, and they have a good, I think, mindset and a style of play in place. And I feel like Girard's one of those teams too. Michael Palmer's coming back this year. He was their rushing leader from a year ago, and he's not a guy you can overlook because you look at his stats, 1,100 yards on the ground. Dude is
a 1,000-yard rusher. That's impressive.
4 touchdowns too.
He won Beard Brothers Big Dog in the Valley 1 week last year.
Yeah. So these are some real athletes over there at Girard, and I think obviously South Range, Poland, Hubbard, some really good teams in that NE8. But Girard's always been able to compete with them too. They've always been solid year in and year out, playing in a tough conference, and they've won enough games to get themselves into the tournament 1 or 2 times in the last few years.
Poland is one of those teams that's going to have to prove that their tradition is built because they are replacing a ton of starters on both sides of the ball.
It's gonna be tough because that defense is gonna look a lot differently too. Like you said, both sides of the ball, but like Poland won games a lot because of their defense. It was ground and pound and to rough you up too. They're gonna have some holes they need to fill too. And
more semi-truck in Christian Colosino.
No, you're gonna have to find some new construction to take up that spot.
And then, like in that same conference, does Niles kind of make a step forward? Because Niles was a team last year that had to figure stuff out, right? Because they lost their passing attack, they lost Zach Leonard, so they were like, okay, what does our offense look like now? They try to find an identity offense, and they slowly did as the year went on. So now that we're entering into their second year of a more established identity, do they take a next step forward?
They can.
ridiculously good in football. Let's just be real.
They can. I mean, this is a case. I'm curious to see where Niles is this year, because they had some competitive games last year. Can they take that step forward? It's going to be interesting. They were middle of the pack. I think they were let me see, 4-5 last year too, 2-4 in the conference. So they were middle of the pack in that NE8. With Poland kind of losing some guys, I don't know where Hubbard's going to be at right now too. It's going to be interesting. South Reach, I feel like
wait for that TC Caffey.
Yeah, that's gonna be the biggest one. I mean, South Range has some holes, but as long as you have Skirpack, right, that takes care of that. I feel like if it's anyone's turn to kind of make a jump and be like a real true dark horse that like no one's talking about, I think Niles is a perfect fit for that. Because I feel like I still think Girard is a dark horse, because I don't think many people talk about them in this conference. But I think they've been well respected. They're starting to build a name for themselves as a program, because they've been able to push out winning seasons consistently now.
Remember, it's Jefferson's last year in the NE8 as well.
That's going to be interesting. This was a Jefferson team that was 4-6 last year as well.
Started the season really good. Like, they were coming into that NE8 schedule hot. I think they were 3-0.
Yeah, they were 3-0 in the non-conference, and then had a 1-5 NE8 schedule. So Jefferson might want to take their talents and find a conference that better fits them for that, because they play a lot of local teams. But we already also discussed it too from Jefferson's angle. They got a lot of travel that they have to do for all their away games. Every game's over an hour.
Biggest win of the year last year for them was that win over Edgewood, and they hadn't beaten Edgewood in a long time.
Yeah, and that was a great win for them to win that.
You did that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and they got a cup for it too. So that was cool to see Jefferson.
Grant Hitchcock was the quarterback that did so much for them. He wasn't a senior, if I don't
believe so. No, so he'll be back this year, and it'll be. I'm curious to see how some of these young quarterbacks, because there's a lot of them in the NE8, how some of them are going to perform going into the season.
I know they're not a dark horse because they're talked about a lot, but like, as far as can they take over the league, or can they make moves and get some big wins and win an ABC? Salem. Like, it's been run by West Branch, and we all know what, because West Branch has been really, really good. So can Salem knock that monkey off and get back into the top of the EBC?
They've had some great teams as well that have been knocking at the door. They can't get over that hump. But I believe
last year it was an unfortunate loss to Alliance that really kind of derailed their season a little bit. So can they stay away from those games that kind of make you scratch your head? Is it kind of like what I'm going to look for?
And that's what we saw, right? That's what we saw Salem do a lot, was kind of have those scratch your head moments from time to time. Like, what is this team we're seeing? Because they don't look like the same team we saw, not even like last week, just last quarter. Like, what happened to this team?
I'm excited to also see Austin Klein take over. Well, not take over, but come into another year of Beaver Local running quarterback.
I'm excited to see that. I'm excited, but like you said too, for Salem's sake, Jackson Johnson as a senior, this is the year to put it together too for Salem. Austin
J.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. J.
Austin Klein, I mean, having that year of experience, you're right, Ant, that's going to pay some dividends for him, because we see a lot of coaches now. We had this discussion last year, and we can open this discussion up again with coaches this year. A lot more coaches, it seems like, are a little bit more quicker to pull that trigger on a sophomore starting quarterback than they were in years past, just to give them that extra year of just growth and say, okay, if we're going to take this year as a rebuilding year, I guess, let's have our quarterback be a sophomore, learn with real games. So that way we got him for 2 years with already some seasoning on him for junior and senior year.
Of course, love to pick and choose and be like, oh, we have a sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, it's obviously easy. But
sometimes if you have a senior and he's best, you're like, well, we have no choice. We have to give ourselves the best chance to win. But in a perfect world, yeah, you would love to have the sophomore quarterback.
There was just a lot more sophomore quarterbacks that we saw, and we're seeing get inserted in that role. And that usually it was a role that was typically you saw in years past. It was a junior or senior position, right? Like, you don't get in that position unless you're a junior or a senior. You work to that position unless you're like ages above the rest, better than everybody else as a freshman or sophomore. You didn't usually start in that, but coaches are a lot more patient, it feels like, with quarterbacks too, and developing them.
Drew DeShields obviously waited until it was his turn. He had a great junior season. He'll be coming back.
That matchup with Canfield is going to be so fun. That West Branch Canfield matchup, Drew DeShields, Brock Lowry, like two of the best. Like, we lost a lot of football talent, and I know that, but the amount of senior quarterbacks, like we just named 3: Jackson Johnson, Drew DeShields, Brock Lowry, like quarterback play is going to be fun. And we didn't even mention, too, I mentioned Michael Palmer with Gerard. Nick Bengala is coming back, too. Nick Bengala.
He got hurt last year, too. Like, there was a middle stretch where he wasn't on the field.
Nick Bengala is a dude that is the real deal, and going into the season, he should be exciting as well. Over 1,000 yards, and you talked about the injury season.
Right, he's a senior.
Yeah, it'll be his senior season. He was throwing for 70%, though, just under 70% completion percentage before he got injured, too. So this is a guy that's a real deal. Coming back for a season, hopefully he stays healthy the whole way through, because I want to see what a full season, what Nick Bengala can do for this Gerard team.
You know, when I look at some of these teams you're talking about, does Lowville count as a dark horse? Because, yes, people are talking about them, but they haven't, like...
They have to prove it, right? Like, they have to prove it. They've proven it in basketball, right? They proved that they were a real deal team in basketball, I think. But Springfield was always their kryptonite. Football, basketball, whatever it was, it's always been Springfield. Springfield now has lost a lot of big names that we've talked about over there. That doesn't mean Springfield's going to be out of the picture, though. That's the biggest thing is Lowville can't be going into this, I don't think, thinking Springfield's out of the picture. They need to be going into this.
Like, how can, like, even if let's say Springfield lost to everybody, which they didn't, but let's say they had to completely rebuild. Like, in your mind, it's still that same Springfield team that has beaten you, right? I don't think it would be really hard to overlook that team. Even if they lost to everybody and you watch them in a warm up going, whoo, it's still Springfield, right? It's still that team that has beaten us so many times. So I really think it's hard to overlook that. I don't think Lowville's going to fall in that trap.
And Lowville's one of those
in the MVAC family.
Lowville has a ton of talent. They, I think, have to be one of the early favorites just because of the amount of senior talent that they have. And by the way, Vinny Balone is a pass-first quarterback that's probably going to throw probably 3,000 to 4,000 yards again this year through the air. So
my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, expect him to be hurling the ball a ton. But you got to come in with that same energy where we have to prove ourselves against every single team inside this MVAC, because I think there's a lot of teams on that Scarlet side that you can't mess around with. Western Reserve can surprise you on any given night. Jackson Milton has shown that they can surprise you on certain nights as well. I think Waterloo isn't going to be a team that you could scoff at either. They were impressive in some games last year, too. They won a handful of games. They're building into that program a lot now, too. I think the Scarlet side of the MVAC is going to be fun. Lowville, I think, will be a favorite going into it just because of the amount of talent that they've retained from last year. But if you're forgetting about them Tigers, man, I tell you what, you're going to be reintroduced to what Springfield can do real quickly.
They're one of the teams I was talking about. They're on the precipice of, do we have tradition or do we have just a good class of kids? Because Springfield was really good in the 90s and the early 2000s and then fell off for a bit. Their football program just wasn't, a winning team. Last year's of the ITCL, they just, they weren't a winning team anymore. And then all of a sudden they got refurbished a little bit when Guerrero came in. Now, does he have the tradition to withstand losing the class that he did? And that's what's going to define this program. And I think he does. I think he's an amazing coach. I think he's going to have no problem getting these kids to play for him. But this is the year where we define Springfield as a traditional program rather than just they had a good class that took them far. Does that mean they're going to get back to a state championship? I don't know. They could. But that's not the bar. I don't think that's like, okay, it's that or bust for this team this year. I think, can they continue to dominate their league? And can they continue to be in the area conversation with losing the amount of senior talent that they did?
Sean Guerrero, too, is the perfect guy for this because in his career, 16 seasons at the helm over at Springfield, and he's 50 wins above his loss record, 108 and 58 career-wise. And you take the last 5 years, 54 and 8 in the last 5 years. He's a guy in the last 5 years you've seen the seniors come and go from that. There's a lot of seniors that you lose in that 5-year stretch. He's been able to consistently put guys in the right positions to have success. 54-8 in a 5-year stretch and 108 and 58 in a 16-year stretch. That speaks volumes for itself. That's why I say don't count out those Tigers going into this season.
They opened the season again against South Range like they did last year, and it was a great game like we thought it would be last year. So we'll have to see what comes about it this time around in this matchup.
This will be interesting too, because both these teams lose a little bit. Obviously, South Range has Billy Skurpak, which is a big name for them that returns. But you know as well as I do, and you know even more than I do, honestly, you can't discount this Tigers team no matter what year it is.
You can't discount either one of these teams because they both have great coaches that have proven time and time again in their careers that they can lose talent and come back the next year with a good team. I don't think Dan Yeagley has had if he has, it's been like one or two losing season in South Range. There have been a couple years they haven't made the playoffs, but even then they were like 7-3. 7-3 doesn't always make the playoffs back in the 2000s.
It was a lot harder to make.
There are a couple years where they didn't make the playoffs, but you're still, 6-4, 7-3. I don't think he has. If he does have a losing record, it wasn't while I was in school or while I was paying attention, and there aren't too many on that board.
Yeah, and like I said, there's football, especially too. There's something
you
to
go through the great players that have come through that program that he's had to lose and come back from. I mean, Jim Sanders, Bensinger I'm going from the early 2000s. This is when, there's people before this too, but Bensinger, Jimmy Sanders, Bizzacco, the older Bizzacco, younger Bizzacco. You look at Toy, and you look at all the Toy boys. You look at, geez, I'm blanking right now. It's not good. Put on the spot, and I'm blanking for big football names.
But here's the thing, though, right, Ant? Like in Springfield,
Kyle Sievers.
In Springfield's case right now, going to Division 7, they just got to think, we just need to be a top 16 team. It doesn't matter if we could drop 4 to 5 games this season and get ourselves into a position where we could still make the playoffs. And Coach Guerrero is such a good coach. He's just got to say, I just need to get these guys ready in this 10-game stretch. We get a seat at the table. Once we're at the table, then we'll run the house the way we know how to. Let me get my guys prepared for this season. Let's get them some in-game experience. And by the time that the playoffs roll around, this is going to be a different looking Tiger team, and they're going to kick it up a notch.
I don't know if we'll eventually do our season predictions and try to guess records or not. Like, we haven't really discussed that, but I would be shocked if Springfield lost more than 3 games this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot. That's why I threw out like 5 losses. I don't expect them to have it, but there's some room. We've seen it. We saw it last year, and we saw it year prior too. There's some room to be had in that Division 7, especially too. So Springfield has an opportunity.
3 would be the biggest number where I would be like, I'm not shocked that happened. Like, I don't think they're gonna lose 3 games, but I wouldn't be like, oh man, I can't believe they lost 3 games. 4 would be like, I can't believe they lost 4 games. But 3 is like that on that one spot where I wouldn't be stunned if it happened. But I expect them to be like, I still think they're the top class of that conference. If not talent-wise, then mental-wise. I think there are going to be some teams that go into that game and they've lost before they even started because it's Springfield and because of what that kind of entails to play Springfield.
They still have 5 returning starters on offense, 6 on defense. Like, there's holes, but you still have a good amount of core guys from last year too, starting wise, that you could build around. And great coaches like Coach Guerrero will have no issue at doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be a fun season to watch Springfield. They're one of the teams that I think Poland is in that boat too. What I was talking about, are they going to be a program or just a good class of kids? But it's going to be fun to see what teams kind of take that next step after losing a big class of talent.
The final thought I have to say too with this, especially the last 3 years, right? Think of all the guys that are going into their senior year this year for Springfield, right? How many of them have played on those long runs in the tournament that have played literally an extra season or so because of the extra tournament games that they've gotten to experience? every season. They've played an extra 3-4 games every season the last 3 years. Seniors going into this year have basically played 4 years already of football because they've played that many
And
extra.
here's the thing: even the kids that didn't play watched and saw exactly what the standard was, because what those seniors were really good at, what that whole class, even the ones that graduated 2 years ago, what those leaders were really good at during this big Springfield run was showing everyone in the program, from the youth league to the JVs to the underclassmen that were on the team. They showed them the standard and they held them to it. So they held themselves to that standard, and then they showed it to everyone else. So everyone on that team knows exactly what it takes, exactly what the work ethic that takes, what it takes. So there's not going to be any question of, what do I do now? Like, what am I supposed to do to get that far? They know exactly what it takes. It's got to go and execute it. That's easier said than done.
You get me excited though. 3 more Fridays, Ant. 3 more Fridays.
I know that's easier said than done. Just go out and execute it. That's all you have to do.
Way easier said than done, but it's exciting to talk about nonetheless.
Ty, I want to make sure I do this before we get out of here. I want to give a big shout out to our partners over at 21, but especially the meteorology department. I don't know if you knew last night, but like in the overnight hours, we got hit with a lot of severe weather. Like you were up north. I think it hit you before it hit us, because
we only got like a little bit. Yeah,
our broadcast saying that there were like tornado warnings in North Canton like 3 hours before it hit us. So I don't know how close you are to North Canton.
About like 40-ish minutes. Yeah.
Did you ever have a tornado watch or a tornado warning?
No, we had a little bit of thunder. We heard a little bit of light rain, but like not a whole lot in the part of Portage County.
I was about to go to bed. It was probably like 1 a.m. I'm getting ready for bed. And then 21 WFMJ goes live. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. They're going live at 1 a.m. So I hit it, and it's like, you were in a tornado watch, and you were in a severe thunderstorm warning. And I was like, well, crap, I better stay up and watch this in case all of a sudden it turns into a warning. I have to wake everybody else in the house up and be like, got to get to the basement now, boys. So the crew that stayed up that late to just sit there and live stream and run you through it, I was on it for about an hour until they gave the Youngstown, Boardman, Canfield area the all clear, which was about 2:15. So to wake up, the broadcaster said he woke up, saw that there was a tornado warning north of us, and said, well, I got to get ready to get on the live stream. So that's what there's no sleep, right? They're like, okay, I'm going to go live at 1 a.m. in the morning. And he probably stayed live because their coverage map goes into Western Pennsylvania, and they had to probably deal with that for another hour. So he was probably live until like 3:30.
No one does it like 21 WFMJ.
But props to them, because they got me through the night, because I was not going to go to bed with a tornado watch.
Yeah, no one does it like them, man.
Thank you to WFMJ for being that source of, once again, severe weather, no matter what hour of the day it is. Our family thanks you, because we kind of watched and made sure that we weren't in danger. And I'm sure there were a lot of other families in the Mahoning, Trumbull, and Columbiana County areas that did the same. So it takes a lot of dedication to get up at 2 a.m. and do a live stream to keep people informed. But you did it, and that's a service. And I want to thank you, and I want to just give the Storm Tracker 21 team over there a big shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, well deserved, absolutely, for what they do. And while I'm saying that too, I mean, that's our partners at WFMJ. If you want to also become partners with YSN and become a sponsor, you can go to ysnlive.com and go to the advertise tab at the top right-hand corner of the page, and you can get all the breakdowns for that. And you can also email us or contact us too for more information on how to get that done. Or also too, because it's right before the high school season, we keep talking 3 Fridays till football. If you want to become a YSN school too, it's a completely free service. So make sure you talk to your ADs about how you can get YSN in your schools and get us to start covering you.
Yeah, Tiny, if you go to that sponsor sign-up page, it's really easy. There's a layout of what you get for each core of the YSN sponsorship, whether it be platinum, gold, silver, bronze, or corporate, what you get for each of them. You fill out your contact name, your phone, your email, your address, and all that stuff. You fill out that whole thing, and then you kind of pick what school you want and what package you want. The price is right there too. Those prices are per season. So, for example, if you wanted the platinum, it'd be that platinum price per school per season. usually. And then if, we always work with your budget too. So one of the things that's really good about YSN and our team is if you come to us and you say, I want to sponsor, here's what I'm willing to give, we'll work out and say, well, here's what we can give you for that. So it's not black and white. It's not like you have to pay this to get this. Sometimes it's like, let's work with you because, everyone's struggling. So if you want to sponsor with us, make sure to hit us up, whether you go to the sponsorship page on the website or you email info@ysnlive.com. Also, like Ty said, if you're a school watching one of our broadcasts, and there are probably a lot of non-YSN people watching on the NAPF, make sure to go to ysnlive.com, message us on Facebook, email us, whatever it may be, info@ysnlive.com, and get you involved. It's free to the school, and all you have to do is the school signs a contract that gives us the right to come and broadcast the game. So it'd be great to add some new pictures to that wall back there. I'm sure we might get a couple before the fall season begins. But if you're interested in that, make sure to hit us up. Ty, also, if you're interested in joining YSN's team, that is where you also can email info@ysnlive.com or reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. We'd love to get a hold of you. Have a quick chat with you before our academy goes in the middle of August to get announcers ready. That's where you come. You'll learn what we're about, how we do what we do, and why we do what we do. So make sure to get a hold of us, and we'll get you set up to come to one of those academy meetings so you can join our team. And there are plenty of spots. If you're one of the guys that love sports, maybe you don't love being behind the mic. Maybe you want to be a content producer. Maybe you want to be a writer. Maybe you want to be a video editor. Whatever it may be, there are plenty of spots available for you to join our team on YSN.
Yeah, a ton of spots, and like we said, as we're growing sponsorship and school-wise, we're going to need more people to help carry the load too, as far as the announcing of games and getting coverage out there for these schools. So
we had fantastic announcers this weekend show up and do a lot of work. You included 4 games on Saturday and 3 on Friday.
Yeah, that's
what it entails. Like, that's what it is. We do games. It's for the love of the game. We go and we do them. So if you want to join our team, be a part of that, make sure to hit us up on any social media platform or email us at info@ysnlive.com. Ty, as we wrap up the show, I want to give a shout out to all the things going on the network tonight, or going on in the network interest tonight. On the network, the only show in town on YSN tonight is going to be the Class B Championship Series resuming, and that is Austin Astro Falcons versus Creekside, Game 4, 7 o'clock, Scene 1. Matt Mayer's going to have the call for that one. Championship on the line. If the Astro Falcons win, they win it. If Creekside wins, they will force a game tomorrow.
Yeah, and this is where where it starts to get the calm before the storm now, folks. We had a little bit of our the baseball storm. It was kind of like a grand finale and a fireworks show that we saw for the baseball, right? 60 games over the course of a week, and that was kind of like getting all of our baseball fill in. Now it's going to be a little bit of appetizers of baseball, softball games. We'll be able to catch some scores on for local teams, but this is the calm before the football, volleyball, boys, girls, soccer, cross country, all these fall seasons, golf, tennis.
That'll be on the network. Also going on across the state, everywhere around the state, we have Little League action.
Yeah,
we have Poland versus Austintown in Ashtabula tonight, 6 o'clock. Winner goes straight to the championship, and the loser goes to the losers bracket semifinal to play tomorrow night. And then when you look at that, this is the 5th meeting between these teams. So far, Austintown 4-0. They've all been close. So it's anyone's guess who's going to win tonight. So the winner, once again, goes straight to the 10U softball state championship. The loser is still alive in the losers bracket championship. We also have Boardman baseball in action, the 11Us for Boardman baseball. They will be playing Avon tonight in Loveland at 6 o'clock. And Canfield, 1-1. They will be playing for their lives in an elimination game against New Albany in Rock Hill.
We're excited. We're excited for it too. Let's go for these YSN teams and let's hopefully get some wins to talk about.
Last but not least, Boardman softball 12U team playing in the Little League Regionals in Whitestown, Indiana. They will be playing on ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock. Make sure to tune in, support our area, support our state as they go for a regional championship. They will play in the first round of that bracket against Kentucky, Boyd County, Kentucky, against Boardman, Ohio. The winner advances, and the loser goes into the losers bracket. So, going to be a fun night. Lot to keep an eye on. One thing to watch on the network, and one thing to watch on ESPN Plus if you're going to do that.
Yeah, we'll get you taken care of on this network too with the Class B baseball games too. And like we said, it's the calm before the storm, folks, and we're going to have so much coverage for you once those fall sports kick off.
Tomorrow we'll take all that in. We'll give you the recaps. We also have our first football coaches interviews of the season tomorrow as Coach King from Camel comes on, as well as Coach Conrad from Champion. They'll both be on the show tomorrow, live on Running Point, as well as the recaps and the what's next for these Little League teams if they do win. So we'll have all that tomorrow from 12 to 2. We're going to take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next